on.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So I reproduce everything on mine pretty much. However, I'm gonna comment this out. However, when I run it, I'm getting that error. I'll show you the error.
It looks like you did not close the properly on the flower bracket. You see at the below, you see that
Yeah, okay. I need let me
yeah.
close it again.
Yeah.
All right, that one looks good. Well,
Yes.
this model, I don't know why this model is here. Let's see what it's saying. Why is it saying it's not? If it's not.
You see at the below one error it is showing. Go there. Let's see what is the error.
All right,
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, that's the one. A little scroll up. Yeah. What is that?
Okay. Does not contain a definition for model.
Context bound object. Is it the same file which you took or you have created a new one?
No, I created a new, I'm copying from that one and I'm creating it. From the original one. Yeah, I'm copying from that and I'm creating. But wait, I want to comment this out. Let me show you something. That's not the issue.
Sure.
Hold on. Now I'm using what do you call them? And then it's I'm gonna take this. I'm using Windows and then I'm having conflict with my command. Anyway,
yeah.
hold on. Let me run this now.
No, you still can't run because once you are implementing interface, all of those
Yeah, you
required
have to
methods
implement
you have to, yes, that's right.
All right, that's gone. But to be honest, I really like this .NET.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I wish I had learned .NET from the beginning because it has. All right, so this is this too. So when I do create here.
So are you calling that validation methods?
No, I'm not calling that. It's not implemented yet.
Okay.
So all I'm saying is when I do create, it's giving me, okay, so it's gone to this.
Okay. See, when you have this problem, right, you will have to check from the code behind. That's from the so this is your CS HTML, right? Okay. So in the background, when you are returning from the controller, are you sending a model for that?
Okay, let's see.
Okay. So first, can you scroll up? Scroll up at the start.
Here.
At the start, did you mention any model here? Okay, model is enumerable of employee. Okay. Now go to your controller. Go to your controller and find out your index method. Okay, employee controller. Here you have index.
This is my index.
Yes, can you put a breakpoint over there?
Okay.
At the flower bracket.
You want a breakpoint right here?
No, not there. It can't allow. So at the flower bracket or at the return, anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah,
I need to
11th
stop
line
this
or 10th
first.
line. No need to stop. You can always put, okay, because it is continuing. But yeah, you can put breakpoint. It's not allowing?
It's not allowing. Let me see.
You have to click at the before 11th.
Oh, right here?
Yeah, right there. Not allowing? Okay. Well, something is happening. Can you stop and try to put a breakpoint? Let's
That's what I was saying. Let me stop.
Yeah.
See, why is it not letting me put a breakpoint?
Okay, you see that the border line, the
Yes.
border at the leftmost side, border kind of line.
This one?
Mm. Give me access.
Okay.
Again, just asking you control. Have you given me control?
Yes, you have control.
Okay. You see? You see
Yes.
these ones? These are all breakpoints.
Okay,
You
so
can put over there. Yeah.
good.
Similar way, let's put it here. Okay. Now can you run? Angel.
Okay, it's running.
Okay. Now can you check what is the value is there in all employees? Employee repository dot all employees. Just mouse move on that, it will show you.
Okay. I'll put my mouse on it.
Not the cursor. Just mouse move. Just mouse move on that all employees.
Oh,
Yeah,
right here.
you see that one? So the count is 0 now. There is no value in that. Okay, so yeah, just do F10. F10, yeah, one more F10. Yeah, F10. Okay, now click on create new, right? That's what you are doing. Yeah, create new. Okay, create is there. Okay, F10. Yeah, F10.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hit mine.
Yeah, or you can do F5 also. Yeah, F5. Click F5 because here there is no error. Okay, now enter the values.
And create?
No, don't click on create. First go to your controller and put a breakpoint on the create. You see the second create method? Yeah, that's the one. No, below. Below one more create. Yeah.
This
Yes.
one.
Yeah. So this is the one. Once you fill the values, it will come here. You see here? Okay. So what is happening here is that public iaction result create, and then you are sending all the filled in details as a object employee. So you are creating an employee.
Right.
Okay. After that, you are return view of index. Okay. You are trying to return a view called index, but you are not passing any model.
Okay.
That is the where it is trying to get that model object, but you did not pass it, so it is failing.
So we should have passed the model here.
No, not there. Once you create, you need to pass. At the below, there is one more create method, right? So I still have control, I believe. So you
Yes, you
should,
do.
okay, there is my control. Yeah, here, right? After index, you need to pass all your employees. Okay.
Lowercase.
Okay. I think I have capital. Okay, comma. And then where is your employee I think employee repository, right? Employee repository dot all employees. Okay, right. Did you stop or is it still running?
It's still running.
Okay, so just save it and then hard reload.
Okay.
You can always do that hard reload. Just to continue. Go to your browser. Yeah, enter the values again.
Create.
Yes, click on create. Sorry, I'm munching my breakfast.
Okay.
Do F10. Again F10. Yeah. Again F10. F10, F10. F10. Okay, so now you are into your view. Okay. Now F10. Again F10. You see here, all the values it is trying to load. Right? So you
ID, name,
yeah, everything is coming.
age.
You can click on F5 now. Is everything okay now?
Oh, yeah. So I think what the problem was, you remember we did not record this part on the video. This is the part where we lost on the recording.
Oh, is
So
it?
yeah, so on
Okay.
the file doesn't have this part. So I couldn't
Hmm.
figure out what to put in there.
Okay, okay, no problem. See, always when you are trying to refer to model within the view, you should refer the model values from your controller. Then only the model it can be understandable, or else model it can't understand. Yeah, if you send the value, then only you can load the value, right?
Right.
Other than that, it is good. That's good that you are
Yes.
practicing well.
Yeah, I could have done more if I had a way to go, go past this point.
Oh, okay, no problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I could have. All right, sound good.
Okay, that's good. So let me share my screen.
We are still recording, right?
Yeah, recording is going on. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Hang on,
So,
I'll stop sharing and then you have it.
yep, no problem.
Go.
I'm sharing my screen. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's good. So as I was telling you last time, so we have almost all completed about that MVC model related everything, but we have, we haven't covered much on the database side of it. So now we need to concentrate on how we can get the values into database, saving into database, and then how you can retrieve the values from the database and display onto your view. That is what we need to concentrate, right? So do you have
Right.
any experience on the SQL server?
Yes.
Okay. Then, so you know all of these basic concepts like what is a database, what is a database table, primary key and foreign key, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just put some points here. So yeah, so just a database. So all of those things. So we can literally skip and we can point at least other points so that it will be faster. Okay, so I just made some of the points here for easy reference. How we can select the values from the database table. So for this example, employee is the database table, and these are all the columns. If you want to return those values, then you can use select query, and then what are all the columns names, and then from database table. Okay, so if you want to insert the values into database, you can query. For updating, you can use this kind of query, update query, and then for deleting, and this is the delete. Okay. And this is how the SQL server would be displayed. We have a list of databases here, and then say employee DB is the database name here. And then under that, you can see all of the tables created under that database. There is a database tables folder. And then for the programmability, there is a stored procedures sections also that will give you a list of stored procedures available within that database. Okay, and then this is the where you write the queries, and this is your output. So generally, this is the how your SQL server looks like of it. Okay. Now, so in order to connect to database, we can use entity framework because we are into .NET Core. It is called entity framework core, the library. Okay, so using this entity framework core, you can connect to database. All your database operations can be done, and then you can also it can be returned from the database. Okay, so entity framework core, it is called an object relational mapper. Okay, so it is a persistent object relational mapping tool. Okay, so how it works is you have the database objects within your .NET Core. Okay, and then you have the model within the database. It's called object relational model. So everything you are doing within the class object values that can be related to your database tables. Okay. So within the .NET, you will see .NET objects. So you don't need to write any SQL queries. Everything you can be processed with the .NET object. Okay. So using this one, you don't need to write, the database queries. You can be everything on the model perspective. Okay. So how you can do this one is you'll have to using the library called Microsoft.Entity Framework Core. Okay. So once we have this library, the main thing we have to create is a database context. So the DB context mainly you can use for allowing querying and saving data. Okay. Also, you can use link queries to say if you want to sum of the data, some of the salary details and all using link queries, you can do it. Okay. Now let's me put one of the diagram way. Okay, so when we are talking about the database within Entity Framework Core and then .NET Core, you mainly concentrate on the you have a component called DB where your actual data will be saving. Okay, on top of that one, you have a context. So basically using this context, all your DB queries and all will be executed. You don't need to write any of the database query like how I was showing you, select query, update query, all those things. Everything will be, DB context where you can directly work on the .NET objects. Okay, so here it will connect to database and then process the queries. Okay, then okay, and then you have a repository. Okay, so in the repository, basically you can write what are all the database methods for your project you want to have. Say insert, update, delete. These are all very common across all of the database tables. So you can put it into under one repository. Okay, and then after that, I'm just talking about the database layers perspective within your application. This multi-layer architecture, all that, right? So this is the ideal architecture for any of the .NET Core project or .NET Framework project, any of those things. And then you can have services. So basically in the services for every object, say we have employee, we have user. So these are all the database tables in the database. Okay, so for every database table, basically you will be having update, delete, all of those things. Okay, so you define that under repository common for all of those database tables. And then under services, you need to create for every table one service, say employee service or user service, something like that. Okay. For example, I'm putting user service. So for user service, basically what we do is insert, update, select. Okay, and then select can be, method overloading concept also. So different parameters it can have, and then delete all of those things can go to your service classes, service library, or whatever folder we can create, and then under that we can put all of those services. And then after that you have a controller. Now our MVC is coming into the picture. Okay, so again here, for example, user controller. Okay, and then you can have a methods, and then you have, actual model and views. Okay, so basically your view is your final UI. Okay, and then model you have, right? So model all of those, columns. Basically you create a model for your table. Okay, and then under that, if you want, you can add, all of those validations. Now how you are doing validations, your, custom validator, everything you can put under that one. So that this is the, this is the how the architecture going to be, and then you can return the values and then display into UI. So this is the how the architecture basically. Okay, now first let's create, a DB, one of the table or anything, and then let's create context and then all of these layers. Okay.
Okay, question.
Yeah.
Why are we not using auto mapper yet? Are we gonna use it now?
Sorry, what is that? Come again.
Why are we not using auto mapper? Auto mapper.
Yeah, if you want, you can use auto mapper also.
Okay.
But entity framework is very, what would say, it can work with, many types of databases. Okay, also it is Microsoft suggesting one. Microsoft is completely rewritten for .NET Core projects, Entity Framework Core.
Okay.
So most of the projects are using Entity Framework Core actually.
Okay, let's continue.
So yeah, it's fine. Let's go to our project. Okay, so basically I just added the libraries for you. Okay, so how you can add it is, manage NuGet packages, and under that you can find out many of the libraries. Okay, so I'll just come from starting. So when you come here, it will be empty. You have browse, installed, updates. So installed means whatever is there in your project already, you can see it. Okay. And if you want to add few more, and then under the browse, you can search.
Right.
Okay, and then it will come. Then after that, you can add. So now, as of now, I'm just searching for the entity framework. Okay, so starting with the entity framework, there will be many more. Okay, you can add based on your requirement. Now I'm looking for Microsoft.entity framework core. See, there is already entity framework. This is for the .NET framework projects. You see here, entity framework. Because core is not there, this works for the .NET framework projects. So now we are not working with the framework, right? We are using on the framework core, which is open source one. So just click on that one and then you see install. Okay, you can click on install, then accept for the open source terms and conditions, and then you see here at the right hand side, this is already added.
Should we include the pre-release version? Does it matter?
Sorry, pre-release. What do you mean?
Yeah, include
Preview?
see the check off over there where it says include pre-release. No, on your left. On your left.
Here is it?
Include pre-release. Go up again.
Okay, this one.
Yeah. Should we include that or does it matter?
No, pre-release one, I don't suggest, don't use that one because those are still under progressing ones. Okay,
Okay.
so we can always concentrate on the completed ones because those are all the trusted. You can trust them because those are all completed and then running from long time, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Now, okay, entity framework core is completed. Now we'll go to database and create some of the thing. So because you already know the database, if any already existing one, we will try to use it.
Mhm.
So I'm just opening SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio.
Mhm.
I should have opened this already, but that's okay. Yep. Files. Okay, so databases, we have, either test, we can use test or auth. These are all having very limited database tables. So if we have anywhere, user is there. So I think we can refer to this one.
You have a lot of tables and databases.
Yeah, I have a lot of data. I usually practice some of the new things.
Mm.
That's why I have. So we already having one of the models. Employee model is there. Okay, so let's target on the user. Okay, so we will try to connect it to auth database. We have users here, so we will try to use the same. Okay.
Okay.
One moment, I'm just going to check under test what is there. Yeah, I think this one looks also good. The other one is having a lot of other tables. So we have simply employees and users. So we'll try to connect to test database. Okay, so the first thing is that, so database is already there. Okay, now
But
you can
why can't we create a data? Why can't we create a schema and then create a tables from
we can
scratch?
create. Yeah, we can create. So my only thing is that, it will take some time. So
Yeah, but
how?
it will help me just in case if I'm troubleshooting, I can go back there and
Yeah,
look at.
that's what I was checking with you, whether you have any, experience with that. So yeah, so I can just show you.
Yeah.
So you can, right click on the databases. Okay, you see here, I'm just right clicking on it and then you see lot of options. Okay, so restoring database, backup, all that we don't need as of now. So I'm just trying to create a new database. Okay, so the database name you can provide here. So as of now, I can put net core, something like that. Okay, so it is going to create two databases basically in the background. So net core is our main transactional database and the other one is for logging purposes. So we don't need to care much about these log databases, but our actual data will be there on the net core.
Okay.
Okay, so let's add create failed, an exception occurred, transact SQL or
Different
batch
name. We need a
already
different name. It
exists.
already exists, yeah.
Okay, I think your name will be unique, my friend.
Okay,
So
well.
I created a database. It is very easy actually. And then if you expand that one, so these are all the default database, the database objects folders, I would say.
Yeah.
So you can also create a database diagram. Okay, and then tables, views, and then some external sources, and then synonyms. Under programmatically, you will be having, the stored procedures and functions if you want to create. Okay, and then some of the other things, the DBA basically uses.
Yeah, don't worry about this.
Under
Let's stay with
security,
what we need.
users, all that. So what we need basically here is that tables. Okay,
Table.
so you can right click on table, click on new, and then you have an option table. This will give you to create a database table. So first thing is you'll have to specify what are all the column names. Okay, so everything will start with the identity. So I'll just put ID. I'm going to use this one as integer format. Okay. And then allow nulls, no. Okay. And then this one is our primary key. So what you can do is, you see there is an arrow. You can right click over there, set primary key. Okay. I'm setting a primary key for that one.
What about
Okay.
auto increment?
Yeah, auto increment, how you can do is, so go down. Okay. Little bit scroll down. There is identity specification. By default, it is no. Okay. You will have to make it yes. Okay. Expand that one. Is identity? Yes. And then identity increment 1. Identity seed 1. Okay, so every time whenever you are trying to add a new record into that table, automatically the value will be incremented and inserted if you don't pass any value. Okay.
Sounds good.
Then now your name I'm going to mention it as and varchar of I think 50 enough, or if you want you just put 150. Okay. I'm not allowing null even for that one. And then your username, even this one also I'll put it as 150. Probably, yeah, 50 is enough. Username also can't be null because we are going to use that one for the login purpose. Okay. And then even for the password. Password, even and varchar of 50 I'm going to put, and allow nulls, no. Okay. So probably if you want, you can have any other date of birth or whatever it is.
Wait, I thought the columns we're using here is the same columns we have in our model, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it has to, it has to relate to that. You can't have, say here I'm specifying it int, but in the, model, you can specify, string and all. You can't do that. You are not supposed to do that. Okay. Okay. Department and varchar of say 150, but that can go as null. That's what I'm putting. Okay. Now right click on here and then save table 1. I'm going to use the name it as user. Okay. So you have created this table as a GUI base. Okay. If you want to see how my SQL query has been generated for table creation, you can always go to script table as create query on the new query editor window. It will give you, the creation script of your table. Okay. Okay. It will generate and show you. You see here, this is the how you basically generate the table on a script basis. Okay. I'm just closing that one. Now we have Alfred database name and user table. See, I'll just show you as a one example, but you can always, elaborate with your practice skills. Okay. Because how you can create model, views, controller, you already know. Based on that, you can create more tables and then more, views, models and all. You can always do that for your practice. Okay. So now our database table is ready. Now our main thing is that, how you can connect to database, and also how you can, execute any of update, inserts, all that. Okay. So another thing is that, you will have to go to your app settings and update your database connection string.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just minimizing this one. Let's go back to our code. So see, we have app settings.json. Because we are under development, go to your app settings development.json. Here is the place you will have to use your connection strings. How you can specify connection string here? Okay, the similar way as logging, you have connection strings. You see here, when I'm just double quoting, typing, connection strings have come. So just enter that double, connection strings. You remember this one, this is always in a JSON format. Okay. So this is your connection string name. First thing is that, you can put any of the connection string name. Okay. Now I'm just going to put default, or you can put your database name also. Alfred connection, something like that, right? Anything you can name, use it here. And then, you just put, colon and then double quote. In the double quote, you will have to specify what is your server name, what is the user ID, what is the password to connect to your database, and then what is the database name you are going to use it. Okay. So now, what is my server? You can always go and check what is your server. My server is Venkat XPX here. Okay. Now your server equal to Venkat XPS. Okay. And then what is your username and password? Okay. You have user ID equal to. This is how you connect to your database. Okay. User ID and then semicolon. Next thing is password. Okay. So this can be your password. How you are talking about the database connection string. Okay. Then database name, we have to specify what is the database name we are using. So database name is database name is Alfred. Okay, so these are pretty much very important things. And then, if you want to specify any of the security related and all, you can also specify persist security info equal to true. These are all very much not important, but yeah, if you want, you can add those. Okay, so this is how you specify your connection string. Let's keep on coming. Yeah, so we have database connection string. Okay, so as I was talking about, in the diagram way, so we have a DB context and then repository. So next things. Okay, so how you can create context and all is you can always create based on the database table also you can create. Okay, so we have a repository folder already. Okay, then do we have data here? Okay, models is there. Yeah, under models also we can create it. See, these are all the classes names and all context and your model. You can also generate using one of the database thing. One moment, let me get that one for you. So it is called scaffolding database context. So here basically, so this is, you can execute this one. It will always create context and database models for you based on the database tables. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So for your thing, database name is Alfred. I'm just trying to create for you. Let's see. This may be needed some of the libraries to be added. First, let
Okay.
us try to create. Okay. So how you can execute is you can go to tools, exit package manager, and there is a console. Okay. Now let's add. Build succeeded. Could not load assembly console. Okay, let's go here. Okay, I think these are all earlier existing ones. Could not load assembly console app. We have another database here. Why it is referring to that one? Okay, anyways, so if everything goes fine, it will be creating like these models and a context for you. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it will be creating. So let's make use of your text context and user taking from here. And then once it is generated like this, you can add it into your project. Okay. So now
Oh,
let
nice.
me add it into models. Okay, right click. Where is that? Paste. Okay. So how these are connected is, the DB context I was talking about. So you have a DB context. So that comes from entity framework. If you get into this DB context, right? Let me go there. F12. Navigating to definition. Yeah. You see here, these are all the, by default entity framework ones. It will have some of the methods, database. So basically this will be connecting to your database to execute any of the, insert, all those, update, all those things. Okay. Yeah. So we don't need to worry much about that one. So it's all about, automatically generated code from the open source thing. Okay. So as for the, for our purpose, I'm going to change this text context as, our database, that is Alfred one. Okay, let me use that one. Control. Okay, I'm just going to change this one as Alfred one. Okay, so we don't have any employee database table. We have only user table. So that is the what I have created, user here. Yeah, there. We will not be having this. I'm just removing that one. Okay, so because we are keeping into the models, so let's keep this one as models. Okay, models. Yeah, all good.
Can
So
you
now,
refactor that test context? Can you not refactor it so it becomes?
sorry, come again.
Oh, I was thinking the file
Yeah,
text
yes,
test
the file.
context.
Yes, yeah, you are right.
You
The
can
file also
refactor
we
it.
should change. Yes, we will change that one. Yeah, so this
That one
is
refactor it.
Alfred. Yes. Okay, so everything is ready now.
Oh, you need the
And
user.
then
You have
we
a
have
user.
user
Okay.
also, ID, name, username, and password. Okay. And then we have one more also, I think department, right? So let's add that one, department. Then after that, we are ready. And that's a nullable department.
Okay.
Okay, all good. Okay, so this DB set is very important thing. So here you have this user, right? So usually within this DB context, that is like a type entity. Okay, the T can be replaced with any of these, type, our type, model type. Okay,
Okay.
the similar way users, if you have multiple tables, you can create one more like this, and then you can add one more. So that based on that, users or whatever that variable name or property name, using that one, you can always apply your insert, update, all of those. Okay,
So
so
what
now
does it
as
mean when you say public virtual DB?
yeah, so when you have this virtual, right? So as part of these OOPS concepts, we have covered that, if you have virtual, you can always override. So either you can have implementation here, or you can have implementation when you can implement this class. When you add
Okay.
this as, parent, that comes as inheritance. As part of that inheritance, if you want, you can override that.
Okay.
The other one we have abstract. If you have abstract, then you should implement that. When you have virtual, it's like optional.
Oh, that's nice. We don't have it
Yeah,
in Java like
that's
that.
yeah, yeah. I think in Java also you have, right?
We don't have virtual.
I don't know about Java.
See, yeah, we don't have that term, a virtual.
Oh, you don't
Yeah,
have, is it? Oh,
yeah.
okay. Sorry, you were asking about Java help also, but yeah, so I don't have any friends actually.
It's
So,
okay. Yeah.
but yeah, is Lakshmi got back to you?
Yeah, he couldn't find somebody, so we let it go.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, so that is one part. And then after that, and the next thing is a repository. Okay. So for the repository, let's create one more folder so that it is, yeah, your repository you are having. So under the repository, so there will be one interface to set all of those methods, and then, and then implementing that interface. Okay, let's add interface here. Okay, so I'll be creating that interface as, I repository base, because repository, sorry, the interface always starts with I. Yeah, let's add that interface. Do we have anything here? No.
You're right, yeah.
Show all templates. I don't know. By default, it is trying to add me, create a class. I repository base. Repository base. Okay, so this repository base, it's not just for one type, so I'm just going to put T here so that this repository base can be used for multiple tables.
Yeah.
Right? So here I'll be mentioning some of the methods. You see here by default, some of the things are coming. Let's use that. T get by ID. Okay, and then we have enumerable of type basically. You see here, get all those things are coming. Yeah. Now another thing we can add is
save.
T. No, get what it has come. Get by filter, and then you can always put any of the filter. Okay, expression. Then tab filter. Don't worry about this expression. This is about coming from the lambda expressions. I'll show you that one, how you can use that one. Okay, so get by filter we have done. And then if you want to return multiple values from the database, say multiple records from the database, you can always put, list of type.
T.
Yeah, and then, the same method name I'm going to use. Only thing is that, the returning type is different here. Okay, so else you can put that list, get list. And then say if you want to return the count of records, you can also add get count. Okay, so probably you may not need all of these, but I'm just trying to add so that in case if you want to use for your requirement, you can use that one. And the default methods, insert. And then here we have to go into specify the entity tab. And then we have.
We haven't saved yet. Okay, update.
Yeah, we have update. See here, delete also coming by default. Void delete. Okay, so these are all our default things I've just added under the repository. Okay.
Wait,
Now
what about save to save the data in the database? You have update, you don't have a save.
Yes. Saving is for insert.
Okay, thank you. Good.
Okay. Yeah. Now I'm going to create the normal repository base which implements our interface. Okay. Let's add our class. Okay. Class repository base. Okay, the important thing is that I repository base.
Okay, implement those methods. It's gonna be T, right?
Sorry, what is that?
I said it's gonna take a parameter T, or it's gonna T.
Okay, T, and then you can specify like this so that the parameter whatever is coming as T, what is the type of that you can specify. That is going to be our class type.
Employee.
And then it is going to be a new one. So you can specify that one. Okay.
Okay.
Now these errors are coming because we did not implement that.
Implement the method.
Okay, so let's implement that. Does not implement interface. Yes. Show potential fixes. Implement interface. You can do that.
Perfect.
Perfect. See, all of those things are coming. Okay. Now, these are all the things coming, the type and all. Okay, because you are under repository. Okay, let's add some of the say system dot data here I want it, and then list we are using, so you'll have to use system dot collections dot generic. And then what else? We are link you, we have added the lambda thing. So link you we need to add. Link you and then link you dot expressions. Okay, see that's expressions has come. And then what else? We'll have to use entity framework using system dot or, and then entity framework core dot metadata dot interval. A repository based is T. We are using this. God, why it is coming that way? Let's try to rebuild. It's taking so long for building.
Okay.
Yes, and failed. Constraints are
It
not
could not be
allowed.
found. Are you missing a using directory per assembly reference? T is a parameter.
Yes, this should not come. Okay, let's put the DB entities also here. So we have context and those things we'll have to declare it here. So because it is a private, I'll just mention it as private ones. And then we have Alfred context. Okay, that's going to be our context. Okay, and then we'll have to declare our DB set. Private read only. Okay, no, not DB context, DB set. Okay, so DB set, we'll have to specify the type it here. That's called our entities. Is right is T.
Can we remove that word T?
Okay, yeah, I got that one. See, when you are implementing this type, right? Even you should be having a type it here. Yeah, so that is okay, all good. Okay, so we have declared context and entities. Okay, so the important thing is that you have this dependency injection, right? The dependency injection we can implement in three ways. Either that can be the property way, or constructor, or you can send a parameter to your methods. Okay. Now our DB context, and then DB set, we need to set as a parameter coming to our repository base. Okay. Now I'm going to create one constructor called public repository base. Repository base. And then you'll be having a parameter called, or see, you see that by default it is coming. Yeah. So those things. Okay, now you can implement these things. Okay, so when you have this delete and then get all those things, let's start with our get all where it is. Enumerable is here. So basically this one is going to return our entities dot, sorry, Ctrl Z. So if you don't implement that, it is going to throw not implemented exception basically. So you need to implement them. Okay, so this one is what is your entities? Entities, you are basically returning all of the entities. Okay, entities dot as enumerable you are keeping. Okay, that's what get all is doing. Okay.
So our get all has a method called as enumerable.
Sorry, come again. Yeah, as
Get,
enumerable, you are taking
get
all.
all has a method as enumerable.
Yeah, so entities, you basically you will have say user table is there, right? All of those records, users records. So that you are returning as a enumerable thing. So
Okay.
you know that enumerable, right? Enumerable is like forward only and read only cursor of values.
Okay.
Okay, so entities you already declared here, and then I'm not passing anything here, only the context, and then entities I'm going to set of entities, and then entities you need to set under context. Okay, your database context, and then set of your particular type here. Okay, so whatever that users, entities and all, you are setting under your context so that you can perform all of your operations like insert anything under your entities. Okay, so on top of this one also, how we can going to create for users and all, I will show you later on. Okay, now this is like a generic now.
Right.
Okay, now for your get by filter. Your entities dot single or default. So when you apply your filter on the entities, right, whether you can return a single entity or you are going to return multiple. So that is the way from the entities you will have to put this one and then your filter. I'm going to call that inside filter thing. Okay. That's the one. And then get by ID. So this is based on your ID. You are returning only one element. Okay. Now return, and then under that entities, you have a find. Okay. And then find is going to have one ID parameter. That's we are passing. Okay. And then get count. So get count is going to return basically there is only one. Okay.
One. There's only one data in the database.
I mean one I mean say if you have 100 of the records, when you are getting the count, you are basically returning 100 as a number, 100 records. Okay, that is the count of records basically. Okay, return, and then you have under entities, the by default framework gives, right, entities dot count, there is one. Yeah, for the count you are passing the whatever your filter conditions, that thing you can pass. Okay, and then closing that one. Okay, so this one is list of your entities.
All right, let's do return entity dot. I want to see what. Okay, let me guess. I don't know it, but I'll guess.
Guess it. Yeah, guess
return
it.
Entity dot enumerable of something.
Okay, yeah, that is good. Return underscore entities dot, you have to apply where condition, and then your filter, and then dot to list.
To list, okay.
To list will give you the list of the whatever that entity type. Okay. So now we have insert and update. Okay, insert and update, basically you need to check whether the entity is really coming as a value. Okay, so you should have that kind of condition first. Okay, now if entity equal to null, you can always throw this exception if you want. Okay, entity, why that is missed, entity equal to null. Okay, basically you are throwing new argument null exception. Okay, if there is no issue with any of those things, you can always let it come the default one. Argument null exception. You see here, this one is changing. Equal to null, return argument null exception of, basically, the parameter names. The parameter name you can put it as entity is null kind of. Okay, entity, can put that. Okay, so in case of the entity don't have any value, return error from there itself. You don't need to perform any of those things. Okay, return exception. Okay.
Okay.
Say if nothing is there and then no issue is there and you are having a value, then you can actually try to save it into database. Okay, and then
this is void. So entity dot add.
Yes, right. So entities dot entity. So the record is getting inserted.
Let's update.
Yeah. So you have some time, right? We will be going to cover some more time. Yeah.
No, I'm saying
good.
let's do the update.
Yeah, let's complete this topic, database thing. Okay, and then we have save changes. After that, you will have to save changes. So that how you can do is context dot save changes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So context has a method save.
So it is like a commit your transaction. Okay. The similar way you can add for your update also. I'm just going to take the same code. Okay, so but
for update, don't we want to change entity to be like an ID or something? Because we are not updating are we updating the whole model, or we are updating just one?
Yeah, see, we will be updating whole model, right? See, either you update the whole model or one column value, you will have to send the whole object. Okay, so inside that it will be taken care. You see that .NET Framework core, it will understand what are all the parameters you changed and then it will update. That will taken care. So we don't need to worry. Okay, so you understand any doubts here?
No, I understand, because for insert we are doing entity.add. For update we are doing entity.update.
Yes.
Then we save the changes. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and then save changes. I'll also tell you one more thing. First, let me finish remove thing. Is that has come here, insert update. Here is our delete thing. Let's add it.
Delete, go up.
Is it there?
Yeah, we had I don't know if we have it, but let's see. There's a couple we haven't implemented yet. Look at
delete is here. Yeah,
delete
why?
right there.
I don't know why it came. Let's control this one
Put
and
it at
then
the
put it
bottom.
at the end. I was thinking why only one method can't implement it. It will implement everything anyway. So even for the delete thing also, we'll put the same kind of conditions. Okay. Now let's take this one. Okay, we'll have delete here.
Delete.
Okay. Okay, delete probably we are not having. What we have is remove. Yeah, remove is there. Okay, let's remove even here also so that we are same across. Okay, so if you look at here, right, we are repetitive of this save changes. So what usually can be done is you can create a private method of save changes and then call every time. You can do that one also. Okay, so
let's do that.
put that
Private.
one. And it doesn't return anything. So just putting save changes. When we click on that save changes, basically we will be having this context dot save changes. Control V. So I'm going to just call this everywhere. Okay. Yeah, or else just remove that context. Okay. Even here also. So by similar way, save changes wherever if you want, you can add a few more methods also. It's based on your requirement. By default, for any entity, these are all the important things.
Do you know why that is showing there?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Because
checking.
you change delete to remove. So you have to go to the repository.
Yeah, let's
it
add
back.
the same thing even here also.
Yeah.
Let's follow the entity framework, what it has. Okay.
So you see I'm following, right?
Yeah, that's good. Good, excellent. Yeah, we'll have to be very active like that so that even in real-time project also any issues come, so we can easily fix it. Okay, so now we have reached until repository. Yeah, repository is completed. Now what we have is the next thing is our services. Okay, context, we have covered database, context, and repository. Now we can cover services. Okay, even for services also, let's create one more folder. See, I'm following this architecture. Why? Because you will come very much familiar for this architecture in a real-time project. You don't surprise of it.
Right.
Okay. Now let's create iService. Why I'm creating every time interface and actual classes? This is called mainly for the your dependency injection perspective. Okay, so that we will be referring to only to interfaces, not the actual concrete classes.
Classes, correct.
Yep. Okay, now interface. Let's name this one as user service. Okay. Now what our services will have? All of our methods. See, in default, all these things are coming. But yeah, so we don't need that one. So let's, we have a, I think get by ID is there. Get all, get by filter, all of this, get by ID. Okay, so get by ID will have our int and then ID. Okay, so what it is going to return get by ID is, let's add the namespace here. You need to have the ASP.NET dot models. Yeah. And then what our type is that here is
int
users. Yeah.
Okay. I see. Waiting.
Is that users or user? Yeah, it's user. Okay, it's user type. Okay, the similar way we will have to add all other things. Okay, now user. What we have another method is get by filter. So you can always use this, right? We don't need to do anything much. Okay, so here another important thing is that, now when we come to our user service now, the actual type can be replaced with your model, actual model. Okay, so that is where I'm using my user.
Right.
Okay, so get by filter. If you want even these things also, you can put it into under your namespaces, and then you can make rid of this one. So up to you. Okay.
Yeah, put it on your namespaces so you don't need to have that system.linq.
Correct. Yeah, if you want, up to you. I'll just think here. See, once you remove that one, this comes. You can always do it. Yeah, easy. Okay, now we have insert user. Okay, insert user, you have model I'm passing. Okay, insert user, what we have is it doesn't return anything. That's what we put it here, right? Insert. Okay, insert a public void. Yeah, it's a void.
So why are we doing this user repository now? This user service.
Okay, so this one is repository based. You have plenty of the things here. So probably for your user service, you don't need all of them. Okay. So you can implement whatever you want to put, you can just put it here. Okay, but actually when you apply any database operations on user, basically this will be getting used only those methods make use of under to execute on the entity framework side. Okay, so these are all, that's why this is like generic thing where you are mentioning it as a type, but this type will be replaced with your user here.
Okay.
Okay, so that will be specific to your user thing. Okay, now update user. Now delete user, you see here. Okay, so these are all the things coming up. Okay, anything if you want to add, we can add it always. You
Hello?
joined? Hello,
Yeah.
yes.
Let's
I
go.
started sharing screen also.
Sure.
Okay, so these things I have mentioned. Now let's me add my user service, actual user service, and a class called user service. Okay, so my user service has to implement that. User service, a user service. Okay, so as
You
of
just have to
just
implement.
implement that. We'll come back to that later. Now, sorry. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Yes. Public. So we are implementing a constructor called user service. Here is the place you will have to specify the repository base. Okay. So the I repository base here. I repository base. Here is the type you will have to specify. I'm just specifying user type here. Okay. And then the repository, I'll just use it as repository user. See, so far we are referring to your types, right? I repository base. So here the type we are replacing with your user.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, private read only. So the repository variable you'll have to specify. So I repository of user type, user repository or repository user, up to you. Use repository user, the repository user, the dependency injection. So I'm just using constructor as my dependency injection. Okay, so repository user, I declared a local variable. But that one, I'm just making as inside that constructor, I'm assigning a value, repository user. Okay, now let's see all of our methods. So for everything, I'm going to use repository user. Okay, underscore repository user dot where we have remove. Yeah, remove of. Okay, okay, so only for the get by ID, we'll use this one. So for delete user, we'll just use the actual, model dot user. Okay, so remove of user. Okay, now get by filter repository user dot get by filter, and then the filter we are passing.
Wait, why is get by filter having a get by filter is not
Because can you tell
compiling?
me
Why?
why? That's because you'll have to make it as
Return statement, okay.
yeah, and then is it return anything? It's a list of users, it is returning. But here we just specified only the user. Okay.
So should we change that to a list?
If you remember, we have two methods, get by filter and get list by filter. Okay. I just rename it to get by filter. Now get by ID. Return repository user dot get by ID. Okay, ID.
That's
Now
your
insert. This doesn't return anything. So repository user dot insert. What is that? User. No, the same thing for update. Repository user dot update of user. Okay, see all the things are done. Okay, so now services are completed. Now what we'll have to do is we have to create a view. Okay, so we have user database table. So let's try to make use of that one. Under the views, let's create the similar way like employees and all. Let's create user. Here is a folder user. Okay, user folder. Okay, under that user folder, let's create our views. Okay, so let's start with index because index always comes. Under that index, let's put, how you can create and then just retrieve the data. Okay, now under that, let's add we have completed services, but we have not completed controllers. Let's implement the controller also. Okay, controller. MVC controller, empty or rewrite actions or entity framework. Also we can do. Let's try with this entity framework. Okay, model class. Okay, model we have not yet created. That's okay. So let's take empty. MVC controller empty. We are using this user controller. Okay, user controller dot class. Under that, we'll have only the index we are keeping. Okay, so initially for the index, we will have empty, or you can load all of the values. Okay, so public action index list of let's say list of user type, list of user. Okay, basically users. Okay, so what we can do is we can add number of users. So say this method will create either number of users, or we can implement our registration process where we will enter the entities. Okay, up to us. But use as users one method where this one inserts. Okay, so let's put this dot.
Well, we don't have
Okay,
that.
so we don't have that one, so or else I'll show you first. Let me add all of those user service and all. So private, we have read only. Okay, and I user service. Okay, so as I said, everything on the interfaces side only now. Okay, now we'll have to implement.
Create a constructor.
Make a constructor, a user service, and that user service needs to assign with our user service. Yeah, that has come. So your user service is ready with the parameters. Okay, so
You need the object of user, import the object of user.
yeah. So this user is not coming, so we'll have to add that models. Okay, so this one is completely ready. Now you have your repository thing. I'm just thinking whether we can create registration as a page, or at least user perspective, we can just add it. Okay, like how we were doing for the employees, we can also do that one. Okay, so survey, user service dot insert user. So what I mean is I'm just putting that. Let's just use this way.
But why are we assigning values when I thought we were going to assign the values in the database.
That's what I'm just, so what I was thinking is the registration, see, we can create a registration as a new page, the view, okay? And then even from there, we can take add users, okay?
Okay.
Okay, or even we can directly add it from here also. I'm just trying to call as a, the method so that when you call the index page itself, you will have all of the values.
Okay.
Okay, that is the way I'm trying to use it. Because we know all of those things, so we don't need to repeat that one. But yes, the login things we can implement it. At least we can see the filter, all of those conditions. Okay, user. List of users. Okay, and then yeah, new user. id equal to 1, then name equal to Alfred. It's going there. Okay, and then username, password. What else I'm going to use? Alfred. Okay, so your user object is ready, and then your user service. Dot insert user. We have user. Okay, so my intention is to add users and then inserting into database it here. Okay, the similar way you can add multiple users also here. Okay, and then finally we are returning the list of users here. Yeah, return users. Okay, and then here when you are returning, you basically return the model, right? The model is your users here. Okay, users as enumerable.
For the password, can you change it to be, instead of Alfred, just change it to be password? Password 123.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
No,
do that.
just write password and then 123.
Okay, password 123.
Mm-hmm.
You can put whatever you want it, my friend.
All right, there we go.
Okay, so now basically when we call add users, okay, basically when we call index, first it is going to add users. Okay, with that user into database, it has to do that, and then the index has to be loaded with your model. That's your users model. Okay, now let's add index here. Where is our yep, add
View.
add a view. Let's see, razor view. View model is okay. Basically, we are going to keep
List.
and then model class is where is our user? Yeah, models user. Okay, and then DB context class is Alfred, my friend. User layout page. Okay, all good.
Yeah.
See, this library, I think last time it was missing. It was unable to create when we are using your, uh, the entity framework side creating one. So it is creating.
Yes.
It's good. Yeah, that's the problem. Again, I'm facing this.
Wait.
No, this is last time also it came. Not to spend much time, but I think last time we covered this concept. Last time we had created, without creating much lines of code, we have created a weave, right? You
Yes.
remember? Yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
similar way. What we can do is I'm going to create the empty one. Okay. Yes, index.cs HTML empty one. That's fine. So we have that kind of structure already, right? So just
Copy.
refer to this one, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But we will change I will change all of this. Okay, so here it is your user as model.
User. Mm-hmm.
Okay, create a user. Okay, and then under that model ID is there, name is there.
We don't have that one.
You have username and then password. I think your department is there already. Let's remove this one.
Delete that one. Okay.
Password. Surname, password. Let's remove this salary. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now just to have these action methods update or delete. Just if you want to just put it. Now our thing from our side, it is everything completed. Let's run and see. Okay.
Okay.
Now you have to go to user controller / index. Okay, for that one, if you remember, we updated our layout last time. Let's
Yeah,
print
yeah.
that one. I know you like that one. You were having some confusions also on that last time.
Yeah, we took care of it.
Yeah, let's put that. Now our controller is user.
User.
And then
User.
index is still there. So that's all good. Okay, now when we are connecting to database, this is not just enough. You'll have to do some more steps. Okay, the steps are mainly under your program. Okay, like how you are doing services dot controllers, all that to add controllers and all. The similar way you have to add it here, how you are connecting to database and all. Okay, now let's add those. So the first thing is after builder services, okay, you need to add, the context, all those things. Okay. Now builder dot, there is a services. Okay. How you are adding these controllers with views. The similar way you have add DB context. So what is our DB context name? Alfred context.
Alfred context. Yeah.
Specify all of these here. Okay, and under that, if you want to add any of those options also, you can add options. Okay, you will have to add options here. Why? Because this that. Okay, you will have to add options because we have a database connection setup. Okay, options. What is the database server name we are using? SQL Server. Okay, use SQL Server. You will have to specify. Okay, use SQL Server with this connection string. You will have to specify your connection string. Okay, builder dot configuration dot get connection string. What is our connection string name? Did you remember anything?
Alfred connection.
Did you remember anything?
It was Alfred connection.
Oh, that's okay. Let's go there and see. We have Alfred connection.
I
Okay.
got it.
Yes. You remember, my friend. Okay. Now let's close off our.
Close one.
If anything opened. Yeah. So here is the one we have closed it. There is one more. You'll have to close it. Okay. So here it is one closed and this one is closed here. So we'll have specified options. Now your context is ready. Now you will have to specify queries about your repository base and user service, right? So you will have to add just two more things, builder dot services dot add. So you will have to use this scoped because for that repository and user service, okay, if you specify scoped, it will create a, when you are referring to your interface, it will create a concrete class for you. So that is called dependency injection. You are not directly dealing with the concrete object. You are just directly dealing with the interfaces. Okay. So add scoped, you will have to specify the type of it. The type of, so you see here, by default coming, but we don't need that one. We'll have to make use of that I repository base. Okay, I repository base, comma, you will have to specify the implementation one. What is the implemented one? It is a type of repository base. Okay, that's the one. Okay, so it means that whenever I'm trying to specify the I interface, give me the concrete object of repository base. Okay, the entity framework will take care of that one. So we'll have to just specify what is the interface for this and what is the actual class for that one. Okay, and then add scoped. And what is that? We have one more thing is that, you know, what we have, I user service. And then when we are trying to see user services by default, it is coming. Okay, the similar way, if you have multiple tables or multiple services, you will have to specify it here. Okay. Now let's make run of this one. What is that error? Let's see. User service does not implement a member of delete user. Oh my God. We have a delete user. Ah, okay.
Remember, delete user was.
Yeah, I think remove user something we put, right? Let's see.
Yeah, we did remove user. So you have to change it to remove user.
Yeah, we'll have to change it to remove user. Okay, and then here remove user. Remove user of int. Oh my God, we changed that one to user.
Yeah, it was user, not int.
Yeah.
I'm glad you caught it. Okay,
Hopefully everything is fine now. Let's run. Okay, so as an initial thing, we are calling users slash index. When we call that index method, basically it is adding one user into database and showing the UI. That's what it is doing. So now let's see across all the layers. Okay, I'm clicking on user.
Where are we?
Yeah, that's what even I'm checking. Okay. Keyword not supported password.
Keyword not supported password.
Where is it gone? I think it is referring to the database connection string. Something is wrong. Where is our database connection string?
Does he want us to use that?
User
No, we can't use that.
Server, fine. We have done. Okay, database specified, user ID specified. Oh my God, why we have used this colon? It should be equal.
Oh, well, you saw it. I didn't see it.
Yes, you see here, server equal, user ID equal. Similar way, we have to specify that one. That's a typo. If we have, I like errors.
I don't.
If you like errors, you know what is the thing to be implemented. Again, persist. Where is our... Okay, I don't like this one. Okay, let's remove this one. It's optional one anyway. I don't want to go this one. Database Alfred. Simple things, easy PC. Okay, connection was successfully established with the server, but an error occurred during the login process. The certificate chain was issued by the authority that it is not trusted. Certificate chain was issued by an authority that is not trusted. A trust server certificate. Okay. Probably that is needed. Okay, let's add one more trust. Server certificate. True. Trust server certificate, and then persist security and for equal to true.
Exception.
Database updation error. Invalid object name users.
Oh.
Okay, at least that is coming. That's good. But where we are referring users, it is a user.
And we see where that came from. Use
Entity, what is the entity here? Entities dot add entity. Save changes, add users. Okay, let's put breakpoint properly and then let's go. So this is our, where is our controller? User controller. List of users. And then for each user, we are going for user service, insert user, entity, user service. So insert user. Okay. No. F10, we have add users dot add. Now users is having one object called user. Department is still null, that is fine. ID, name, password, username is coming. Okay. Now we are going to users service, insert user, repository user, insert, entity is not null. Now our entity is modal dot user, text dot save changes.
Saving and change. See the inner exception.
Somewhere it is referring to users, but where is that? Okay, do we have? Where is our model? Model is user. Like a partial class user. Okay, and then not that models. Do we have anything? Desktop. Also, it is model user. Anywhere users is there. Let's search. Service, yes. Yeah, you see here we have created as TV set users.
No, that one is right.
Okay. Right. Okay, that is one thing. Where else? This has user, let's see. And then entity is user. Context, TV context, user. Set user. In the database, what name we have? We have created as user only, all good. User. Search F10. Cannot insert explicit value for, okay, at least that is good. Now let's remove that identity thing because it is trying to take from the identity. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good, you are there. So now,
I didn't go nowhere.
sorry?
I said I did not go anywhere.
No, we'll have to check the errors. What error said that is because we are having the value for ID. It is suggesting that remove that one because you have kept identity is on. So that by default, it is taking from the database side. So you don't need to add. So I removed that ID column now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay, so now it will come here again. So F10, now I'm just adding user. Okay, so now you have done. Now we are just returning users as enumerable. Now your index would load. Is that all good?
Look good.
Yes. So you have done all these across all the layers now. Now verification you should do with the database. Actually, the data has gone to database or not. Okay. Now let's go to your database and then you can right click on the database, select all 1000 rows. You see here? Data has been gone to inserted as a new record into your database.
Oh, nice.
Nice. So it will be across all of your layers. That's how you can set up entity framework. And then, across all the layers, you can write the logic. Okay, all good.
All good.
Okay, so even if you want, you can create so the how the views and all you can create now. Okay.
Right,
So you can
right.
create a task for yourself, how you can create a new user, okay, and then create a view to load the data, and then, across, those new action methods you can write, edit, delete also, you can write logic. You know all of these. It is a similar like employee, how you are doing the similar way.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, good. Thank you so much.
No problem. So I'll be creating this database also for you so that you can refer to.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good that, we have almost all covered 2 hours. But that's a good. We have completed our database perspective at least. So we have covered database things. The similar way, you can create, like employee database table, and then, you can insert or update from the Weave. Now we have covered all of these layered architecture also, so that, from any project point of view, you don't be surprised when you see these kind of proper architecture, repository, services, database
Correct.
context, and then how you can add database context, and then another services here. Yeah, you have covered all of those.
Okay.
Any doubts with this?
Oh no, all the doubts I will clear once I get the video. I'll be looking at the doubts.
Yeah. Good that all that is recorded. I'll be sending all of those to you. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
no problem. Thanks, my friend. Keep
Have a
practicing.
happy
Any
Sunday.
doubts, let me know. Okay.
I will.
So for the next class, you want to cover any doubts, clarifications, or you want me to start our new thing, either, what is that? Our
We'll go to
Blazor
Blazor.
or
I think we should go to Blazor.
Blazor. So you are interested to go to Blazor now?
What do you recommend?
Up to you.